Okay.
All right, at 11:56, calling the October 30th, 2020 meeting of the Southborough Board of Selectmen to order. And the first thing I'll do is read Governor Baker's statement. And this will cover both the Selectmen's meeting, which is at 11:55, as well as the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee meeting, which will start immediately after this one. So, pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law, General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place, this meeting of the Southborough Board of Selectmen and that of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at www.southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So with that, good morning, everybody, and let's move to the consent agenda. Have we received a resignation of Mr. Kalenda from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee or indication thereof?
Yes, we have.
All right. Then I'll move to accept the resignation of Dan Kalenda from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee.
Second.
Second.
Discussion, none. Ms. Braccio?
Aye.
Ms. Malinowski?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye.
Mr. Stivers?
Aye.
And Mr. Healy is aye. That is unanimous. Next item on the consent agenda, appoint Chelsea Malinowski to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee to a term ending June 30, 2021. Ms. Malinowski, I'm assuming you are willing to accept that appointment?
Yes.
All right. Then I will move to appoint Chelsea Malinowski to the Affordable House Trust Fund Committee for a term ending June 30, 2021.
Second.
All right. Seconded by Mr. Shea. I think he got there first. Discussion, none. All in favor, Ms. Braccio?
Aye.
Ms. Malinowski?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye.
Mr. Stivers?
Aye.
And Mr. Healy is aye. Congratulations, Chelsea. It's unanimous. Does anyone have any other matters properly before the vote today? Seeing none, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Mr. Stivers. Discussion, none. Ms. Braccio?
Aye.
Ms. Malinowski?
Aye.
Mr. Shea?
Aye.
Mr. Stivers?
Aye.
And Mr. Healy is aye. The October 30, 2020 meeting of the Southborough Board of Selectmen is ended. And Ms. Braccio, I will now turn matters over to you as chair of the Affordable House Trust Fund Committee.
Thank you. Can we move over the two attendees, Ms. Jasinski and Mr. Boland, before we start the meeting, please? All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending the meeting of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Committee, October 30th, 2020, calling meeting to order at 12 o'clock, right on the money. It just flipped. All members are present. The first item on the agenda is approval of supplemental funding for the rent mortgage and a mortgage assistance program. I will open it for discussion. Most members of the board are clearly aware of the parameters of the program, but for Mr. Boland or Ms. Jasinski, I will open it up, or I can just give you a brief synopsis, Bill. With the rent and mortgage program, the Board of Selectmen approved the program. It's being funded by the CARES Act, but we wanted to put a backup mechanism in place in case there was some issue with the reimbursement. It's initially coming out of the general fund, but we wanted to add the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is allowed to be a backup funding source for the $25,000 for the program if needed. So we just wanted to take a vote on that. So I don't know if you have any questions or comments, or if we're just ready to move forward. Okay,
Nope.
so I'm sorry, Bill, did you
Nope,
say something?
no questions. We talked about it yesterday in our trust fund committee meeting.
Okay, perfect. So do I have a motion for approval of the supplemental funding for rent and mortgage assistance program?
So moved.
Okay, that was Mr. Stivers. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Shea, and roll call vote. Mr. Healy,
Aye.
Ms. Malinowski,
Aye.
Mr. Shea,
Aye.
I already did. Mr. Stivers. Sorry. Ms. Jazinski,
Aye.
Mr. Boland,
Aye.
and Ms. Braccio, aye. Thank you very much. And the second piece is part of the process that we had put in place was a second round of checks and balances once the emergency fund signs off on the program. So for the Affordable Housing Trust, we are asking to have Ms. Malinowski to review the applications as a second oversight before it gets to the town accountant. So any discussion?
Who is the first oversight?
So it's through the process, it's the Emergency Fund Committee who currently is made up of the Director of Youth and Family Services, the Outreach Coordinator from the Senior Center,
Yep.
The Director of the Senior Center, and the Coordinator for the Food Pantry. Currently through the Emergency Fund that's funded through the Community Fund, this is a similar process to what they're doing for citizens in need, whether it be for utility or whatever it may be. So where they already had the systems in place was why they were the first check and balance. And we just felt it would be a simpler process for the town accountant to not have to really go through and check as much, all the details should be there when it gets to her. So it's just an extra check and balance.
So I guess I would ask, what happens if the emergency committee is in favor and Ms. Malinowski sees a problem with it?
So it's not a matter of being in favor, it's a matter of if it meets the qualifications that have been set forth for the program. And basically all Ms. Malinowski is going to do is review the packet and make sure all the requirements are met, that all the documentation that's required is there, and that it meets the financial guidelines, that the 80% of the median income, that is met as well. So it's not a matter of turning down an application. The only way you turn it down is if it didn't meet the requirements.
Gotcha.
Any other discussion? All right. With that being said, do we have a motion to authorize Chelsea Malinowski to review rent and mortgage assistance program applications?
So moved.
Okay, I think that was Mr. Boland. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Stivers. And roll call vote.
Can I just say, the
Yes.
one thing, has Chelsea been, what do I want to say? You just appointed her, right, at the Selectmen's meeting?
Mhm.
So if she hasn't been sworn in yet by the town clerk, her vote might not count in these meetings.
She doesn't, my understanding is, and Mr. Purple jump in, because she's been sworn in as a member of the board, there isn't a swearing in process again.
Yeah, no, you're correct, Ms.
Okay.
Braccio.
Good.
The way that the town clerk is doing this now, he's kind of streamlined the swearing in process so that if you have somebody who is currently sitting in a seat they've been appointed to and they're reappointed, there's no need to swear them in again. If they're sitting on another board or committee, as Ms. Malinowski is with the Selectmen, has already been sworn in, and now she is on, for SHOPC or Affordable Housing Trust Fund, the clerk is not requiring her to be sworn in again.
Good.
Okay, so Mr. Healy,
Aye.
Ms. Malinowski,
Aye.
Mr. Shea,
Aye.
Mr. Stivers,
Aye.
Ms. Jazinski,
Aye.
Mr. Boland,
Aye.
Ms. Braccio. Hi. I am going to actually table the minutes because I want to be accurate and including some of the discussion that we just had. So, and that's fine because we're going to be having another meeting probably in a couple weeks with some updates on Stockwell. So we can approve the minutes at that time.
Can I ask, are there any updates on Stockwell? We still own it?
We still own it, not for much longer. Hopefully, we're getting ready to move
Good.
forward. There was, by the time the wall got done and winter hit and then COVID hit and then life hit, you know, in between, we are working through the process of speaking to Karen Moran and DHCD. So within a couple weeks, we should have an update and hopefully have some real concrete dates as far as, you know, hopefully within a couple months, this will be off the Affordable
And
Housing Trusts.
we have enough money from what we've previously approved to get oil and other things?
Yes, there's still $70,000 in the account. That was after we had paid for the housing plan.
Mhm.
So there's still $70,000 in there, which would more than cover anything for the next 2 months, as well as if we needed to through the CARES Act this. So
Thanks for taking that over.
you're welcome. Any other matters before the board? Okay, I thank you all for joining us.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Healy,
Aye.
Ms. Malinowski,
Aye.
Mr. Shea,
Aye.
Mr. Stivers,
Aye.
Ms. Jazinski,
Aye.
Mr. Boland,
Aye.
and Ms. Braccio. Aye. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thanks.
Good
you too.
weekend.